Hello, students. How are you all? I hope that you are in good shape and in good health at your home. So, in the last class, we have discussed about a brief overview of the cyber law. What is the cyber law is all about, and why we need a good cyber law, especially in India. And in continuation of that, before we study about the Information Technology Act, we have to also discuss about certain important terms which are used in cyber law under the Information Technology Act. So let us discuss a few key words or few key terms uh, under cyber law which will help us to have a better understanding of the Information Technology Act. So first of all, under the Information Technology Act, Section 2, Clause 1, Subclause I defines computer. What is a computer? So, according to Section 2, computer means any electronic, magnetic, optical, or other high speed data processing device or system which perform logical, arithmetic, and memory function by manipulations of electronic, magnetic, or optical impulse and includes all input output processing, storage, computer software, or communication facilities which are connected or related to the computer in a computer system or computer network. So you can say that under the Information Technology Act, computer basically means any electronic device, magnetic, optical, high speed data processing device, or any device which is somehow connected or which has access to the cyber space. So the definition of computer under the Information Technology Act is quite wide. So it includes your laptop, your desktop, your mobile phone, uh, your smart TV, any device which has some sort of an access to the cyberspace. Similarly, we also have to understand what is the meaning of a computer network. The definition of computer network is given in section 2I clause subclause J. Section 2I J defines computer network as the interconnection of one or more computers or computer system or communication device through the use of satellite, microwave, terrestrial line, wire, wireless, or other communication media and terminals, or a complex consisting of two or more interconnected computer or communication device, whether or not interconnection is continuously maintained. So basically, computer network, if I can say in simple terms, is any network that joins or that connects two computer devices, whether through satellites, whether through radio waves, whether through wire, wireless, or through any terminal or whatever it may be. So computer network means any network which joins the two computers. At the same time, we also have to define what is the meaning of a data, because in cyberspace there is a transmission of a huge chunk of data. So what is a data? The term data is defined in section 2 clause 1O of the Information Technology Act. So according to the act, data means a representation of information, knowledge, fact, concept, or instructions which are being prepared or have been prepared in a formalized manner and is intended to be processed or being processed or has been processed in a computer system or computer network, and may be in any form including computer printout, magnetic or optical storage media, punched card, punched tapes, or stored internally in the memory of the computer. So data basically means any information, anything which is stored somewhere or which is transmitted from one computer to another. So data means any information, any sort of information, whether it be numbers, letters, or it can be of any form, which is stored somewhere, whether it's an optical drive, magnetic drive, hard disk, solid state drive, punch drive, floppy disk, pen drives, etc. So data, always remember that it represent information, knowledge, or facts which are stored in some formalized and prepared in some formalized manner. And one more term that we have to define here is what is digital signature, because the relevancy of digital signature is very much in case of online e-commerce transactions. So what is the meaning of digital signature? The definition of digital signature is given in section 2 clause IP of Information Technology Act. Digital signature, it says that digital signature means authentication of an electronic record by a subscriber by means of an electronic method or procedure in accordance with the provisions of section 3. So basically you can say in simple terms that digital signature means a way or a mode in which you authenticate any digital record, whether it be a contract, whether it be a document. It is a way in which you authenticate the record so that the person who is receiving the record or the data knows that it is you who has sent the information and not by someone else. So it is a way of authentication by which electronic records are authenticated. Uh, one more term that we have to discuss here is certifying authority. The definition of certifying authority is given in section 2 clause IG of Information Technology Act. So certifying authority means a person who has been granted a license to issue electronic signature certificate under section 24. So digital signature, or in some way you can say electronic signature, can be produced or can be used only if it is issued by a certifying authority. So certifying authority is someone who has the power to issue or to give you a license to use electronic or digital signature. So that is the certifying authority. At the same time, the last key word or the key term that we have to discuss here is who is an intermediary. The definition of intermediary is given in section 2 clause I subclause W of Information Technology Act. So intermediary with respect to any particular electronic record means any person who on behalf of another person receives, stores or transmit that record or provide uh, any service with respect to that record and include telecom service provider, network service providers, internet service provider, web hosting service provider, search engine, online payment sites, online auction sites, online marketplace, and cyber cafes. So basically, intermediary is any platform in which you conduct some activity, whether it be a social media site, whether it be a online site where you buy and sell goods, whether it be a site on which you communicate with others. So intermediary is any platform which provides some kind of a service in the cyberspace, such as Amazon, Flipkart, Google, Microsoft, WhatsApp, Facebook. These are all fall under the definition of intermediary. Now let us discuss, since we have discussed some key terms under the Information Technology Act, and I hope that you have understood those terms. Now let us discuss the important provisions of the Information Technology Act and also try to understand how the entire Information Technology Act works. So in India, cyber laws are contained in Information Technology Act. The Information Technology Act came into force on 17th October 2000. The main purpose of the act is to provide a legal recognition in electronic commerce and to facilitate filing of electronic records with the government. The following act or rules, as I've already told you, there are several rules or regulations which are framed within the Information Technology Act. So in this class, we'll also be discussing about certain information technology rules, like Information Technology Rules, Certifying Authority Rules 2000, Information Technology Security Procedure Rules 2004, Information Technology Certifying Authority Rules 2001. Okay. Now, Before we discuss about the Information Technology Act, also let us discuss a brief history of how the Information Technology Act came into being. It is very important to know why in India Information Technology Act was passed in 2000. So when we talk about the history, the Information Technology Act is an outcome of the resolution dated 30th January 1997 of the General Assembly of the United Nations, which adopted the model law on electronic commerce, adopted the model law on electronic commerce on international trade law. The resolution recommended inter alia that all states give favorable consideration to the said model law while revisiting enacting new law so that uniformity may be observed in the laws of the various cyber nations applicable to alternatives to paper-based method of communication and storage of information. Department of Electronics in July 1998 drafted the bill. However, it could only be introduced in the House on 16th December 1999 after a gap of almost 1.5 years when the new IT ministry was formed. So, as you can see, the Information Technology Act of 2000 was basically drafted on the basis of the resolution of the General Assembly, which was passed in January 1997. And the draft for the Information Technology Act was formed by the Department of Electronics in 1998, but it could not be introduced in the Parliament. So, when the new Information Technology Ministry was formed in 1999, it intervenes. The ministry made certain fundamental changes in the bill relating to information technology, with the Commerce Ministry making suggestions relating to e-commerce and matters pertaining to World Trade Organization obligation. Ministry of Law and Company Affairs have vetted this joint draft. So basically, you can see the draft that has been made, which laid the foundation of the Information Technology Act, was a joint initiative of the Department of Electronics and the Commerce Ministry. As you can see, as we will be studying later on, that the Information Technology Act contains several provisions relating to e-commerce. After its introduction in the House, the bill was referred to the 42-member Parliamentary Standing Committee. Following demand from the members, the Standing Committee made several suggestions to be incorporated in the bill. However, only those suggestions that were approved by the Ministry of Information Technology was incorporated. One of the suggestions that was highly debated upon was that a cyber cafe owner must maintain a register to record the names and addresses of person visiting his cafe and also a list of websites that they served. This suggestion was made as an attempt to curb the cybercrime and to facilitate speedy location of cybercriminals. However, it was at the same time it was ridiculed as it would invade upon a net server's privacy and would not be economically viable. Finally, this suggestion was dropped by the IT ministry in its final draft. The Union Cabinet approved the bill on 13th May 2000, and on 17th May 2000 both the houses of the parliament passed the Information Technology Bill. The bill received the assent of the president on 9th June 2000, and the act, that is we call Information Technology Act, came into force on 17th October 2000. With the passage of the time, as information technology developed further and the new methods of committing crimes using internet and computer surfaced, the need was felt to amend the Information Technology Act 2000 to insert new kinds of cyber offenses and plug in other loopholes that posted hurdles in the effective enforcement of the Information Technology Act 2000. This led to the passage of the Information Technology Amendment Act 2000, which was made effective from 27th October 2009. The IT Amendment Act 2000 has brought several changes in the Information Technology Act of 2000. So, with the passage of the time, it was felt that the Information Technology Act of 2000 have become outdated and redundant in some manner. So, in order to cope up with the time, a very important amendment has been made in 2008, that is called the Information Technology Amendment Act of 2008, which we will be discussing later on. Now let us discuss about the Information Technology Act, the main act itself. So, Information Technology Act is India's mother legislation regulating the use of computer system, and computer network, as also data and information in the electronic format. This legislation has touched various aspects pertaining to electronic authentication, digital signature, cyber crimes, and liability of network service providers. The preamble of the Act states that it aims at providing legal recognition for transactions carried out by means of electronic data interchange and other means of electronic communication, commonly referred to as electronic commerce, which involves the use of alternative to paper-based method of communication and storage of information, and aims at facilitating electronic filing of document with the government agency. This act was amended by Information Technology Amendment Act of 2008, which, as I have already told you, which was passed in Lok Sabha on 22nd December 2008 and Rajya Sabha on 23rd December 2008. It received the assent of the President on 5th February 2009 and it was notified with effect from uh, 27th October 2009. The IT Act of 2000 was developed to promote the IT industry, regulate e-commerce, facilitate e-governance, and prevent cybercrime. So the main objective of the Information Technology Act was to regulate the information technology industry and all those players who falls within the domain of the IT Act, whether it be a public institution or private institutions, and regulate e-commerce activity and facilitate e-governance and prevent cyber crimes. So these are the four key objectives of the Information Technology Act. The act also brought to foster security practices within India that would serve the country in a global context. The amendment was created to address issues that the original bill failed to cover and to accommodate further development of the IT and related security concern since the original law was passed. The IT Act 2000 consists of 90 sections spread over 13 chapters uh, of the principal act, and it has overall uh, five, seven schedules. So you can see the IT Act, if you see, is a very big act, contain various provisions with respect to e-commerce, with respect to cybersecurity, with respect to cyber crimes, and as well as penalizing those cyber crimes, and also it contains provision to govern the entire cyberspace. So you can say that the cyberspace in India is primarily governed under the Information Technology Act. Now let us discuss about some of the salient features of the Information Technology Act. We have already discussed about the evolution of the act. So let us discuss about the silent features of the Information Technology Act. So as you can see in the slide, the act can be broadly classified into three parts, that is administrative part, civil part and criminal part. We will be discussing about these three parts separately. First of all, let us also discuss about the silent features of the Information Technology Act. So the term digital signature has been replaced with electronic signature to make the act more technology neutral. So under the Information Technology Amendment Act of 2008, certain changes have been made in the original act. What are those changes made? Those changes also need to be studied here. So I'll be telling you about what are the changes that have been made. So first changes was made is that the term digital signature has been removed and a broader term, that is electronic signature, which encompasses the digital signature has been introduced. The second major change that has been made in 2008 is that a new section has been inserted to define communication device to mean cell phones, personal data assistants, or combination of both, or any other device used to communicate, send, or transmit any text, audio, video, or image. Third, A new section has been added to define cyber cafe as any facility from where the access to the internet is offered by any person in the ordinary course of business as a member to the public. So the 2008 amendment has defined the term cyber cafe. A new definition of intermediary has also been inserted. So that the original definition of intermediary has been replaced with an amended definition in 2008 amendment. A new section 10A has been inserted in the act to the effect that the contracts concluded electronically shall not be deemed to be unenforceable solely on the ground that the electronic form or means was used. For next, the damage of rupees 1 crore prescribed under section 43 of the earlier act of 2000 for damage to computer system, etc., has been deleted, and the relevant part of the section has been substituted by the word he shall be liable to pay damages by way of compensation to the person so affected. So the cap of 1 crore rupees as a damage which has been provided under section 43 has been removed. A new section 43A has been inserted to promote sensitive personal data or information possessed, dealt, or handled by a body corporate in a computer resource which such body corporate owns, control, or operate. If such body corporate is negligent in implementing, maintaining reasonable security practices and procedures and thereby causes wrongful gain or wrongful loss to any person, it shall be liable to pay damages by way of compensation to the person so affected. So a new section 43A has been added regarding personal data and information. Section 66A to section 66F has been added to section 66 prescribing punishment for offences such as obscene electronic message transmissions, identity theft, cheating by impersonation, using computer resource, violation of privacy, and cyber terrorism. So various provision with respect to cyber terrorism, data privacy, computer resource, cheating, etc. has been added from section 66A to section 66F. Section 67 of the Information Technology Act 2000 has been amended to reduce the term of imprisonment for publishing or transmitting obscene material in electronic form to 3 years from 5 years and increase the fine therefrom from 1 lakh to 5 lakhs. Section 67A to 67C has also been inserted. While Section 67A and B deals with penal provisions in respect of offences of punishment or transmitting of material containing sexually explicit act and child pornography in electronic form. Section 67C deals with the obligation of an intermediary to preserve and retain such information as may be specified for such duration and in such manner and format as the central government may prescribe. Next, in view of the increasing threat of terrorism in the country, the new amendment included an amended section 69, giving power to the state to issue direction for interception or monitoring of decryption of an information through any computer resource. Further, section 69A and B, two new sections grant power to the state to issue direction for blocking for public access of an information through computer resource and authorize to monitor and collect traffic data or information through any computer resource for cyber security. So section 69A and B has been added, and section 69 has also been amended under section 2008, where your freedom over the internet or any activity over the internet can be regulated or stopped by the government. Section 79 of the Act next, Section 79 has also been amended, which exempted intermediaries have been modified to the effect that an intermediary shall not be liable for any third-party information, data, or communication link made available on host to him if the function of the intermediary is limited to providing access to communication system over which the information made available by third parties transmitted or temporarily stored or hosted. The intermediary does not initiate the transmission or select the receiver of the transmission and select or modify the information contained in the transmission. The intermediary observes due diligence while discharging the duty. However, Section 79 will not apply to an intermediary if the intermediary has conspired, abetted, or aided or induced, whether by threat or promise or otherwise, in the communication of the unlawful act, or upon receiving actual information, or on being notified that any information, data, or communication link residing in or connected to a computer resource controlled by it is being used to commit any unlawful act. The intermediary fails to expeditiously remove or disable access to that material on that resource without vitiating the evidence in any manner. So, under Section 79, the role of the intermediary as well as his liability under the Act has been greatly enhanced under the Act. A proviso has been added to Section 81, which state that the provision of the Act shall have overriding effect. The proviso state that nothing contained in this Act shall restrict any person from exercising any law conferred under the Copyright Act. So, Section 81 is a very important section which has been amended under the 2008 Amendment Act, and it included a proviso which has a notwithstanding clause, which has the effect of providing a rider that the act will not affect any of the right which is conferred under the Copyright Act. So, any right which is conferred under the copyright will not be affected uh, under the Information Technology Act. So, let us also discuss about several rules which has been notified under the Information Technology Act. So, as I have discussed, there are a lot of rules that has been notified. Prominent among them are Information Technology, Electronic Service Delivery Rules of 2011, Cyber Appellate Tribunal Procedure for Investigation of Misbehavior or Incapacity of Chairperson Members Rule 2009, Cyber Appellate Tribunal Salary Allowances, Other Terms, Condition of Service of Chairperson and Manager Members Member Rule 2009, Information Technology Procedure and Safeguard for Blocking of Access of Information by Public 2009, Information Technology Procedure and Safeguard for Monitoring, Collecting Data Traffic or Information Technology Rules 2009, Information Technology Security Procedure Rules 2004, Information Technology Use of Electronic Record and Digital Signature Rules 2004, Information Technology Other Standard Rules 2003, Information Technology Certifying Authority Regulations 2001, and Information Technology Certifying Authority Rules 2000. So you see, there are a lot of rules that has been framed by the government from time to time under the Information Technology Acts. Some more prominent among them is the rule framed in 2001, 2004, 2009, and 2011. So we have to focus more on the rules which has been framed in 2009 and 2011. Those are important rules which we will be discussing in the next class. So in the next class, we'll be breaking down the entire cyber law prevalent in India, and we will be discussing the Information Technology Act under three broad headings, that is Administrative Act, Civil Issues, and Criminal and Penal Issues. So under administrative part, we'll be discussing about recognizing e-commerce, legal enforceability and authentication of electronic documents through digital signature, methodology and process, how digital signatures are processed and how it is authenticated. As well as the same time, we'll be also be discussing about the powers of adjudicating authority, including certifying authority, and also about cyber appellate tribunal and what is the role and duties of the cyber appellate tribunal. Under the civil aspect of IT Act of 2000, we'll be discussing about the administrative ventures under the IT Act, and what constitute the civil infringement of rights, and what are the civil duties which are prescribed under the Information Technology Act. Under the criminal part, apart from IPC, CRPC, we'll also be discussing about recognized rules for penal provisions under cyberspace, digital crime, crimes against computer resource, and what are the grievance redressal mechanism that has been provided under the IT Act with respect to redress, monitor, and restrict investigation cyber crimes. we'll also be discussing all those things under the criminal part of the Information Technology Act in the next class. Thank you so much for patiently listening. I hope you must have got a brief idea about the entire Information Technology Act, as well as a brief overview of the Act, and also at the same time a history of the Act. In the next class, we will be discussing about administrative, civil, and criminal aspect of the Information Technology Act, as well as at the same time we'll also be discussing about some important provisions of the Information Technology Act. Thank you so much for patiently listening. Till we meet next time. Thank you so much.